Hello, my kindergarten artists. Today we're going to be looking at mixing our three primary colors, which is red, yellow, and blue, to make our secondary colors, which would be orange, violet, which is also called purple, and green. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways you can do this, and then you can do it with whatever you have at home. A fun and easy way to do it is if you happen to have some food coloring. Or, I didn't have any food coloring, but I had some Jell-O mixes, so I made up some Jell-O. And then, obviously, it hasn't turned into Jell-O yet. It's still the water. But if you have food coloring, it would work too. So a fun thing to do is if I take my yellow and my red, and we mix in some yellow and a little bit of red, it should turn into a nice orange. And then if I take that same yellow, but this time I'm going to add in blue. So again, I'll pour in some yellow into my cup. And then I add a little bit of blue. It should turn into a very beautiful green, like our school colors. And lastly, if I take my red, pour some of that in there, and add a little bit of blue. Kind of looks like brown. It's supposed to be purple. Blue and red make purple or violet, but violet can be a very hard color to make the way we want it to look. But that's one way you can mix your colors. Another way is if you happen to have some paint at home. You can dip your brush in the blue and then dip it in the yellow. So I have both colors on my brush. Then if I paint a new spot, they should mix together to make a nice green. If I want to make it a bit brighter, I could add in some more yellow. And then before I mix my other colors, I don't want to make a mess. So I'm going to pinch and wipe off my brush. I'm not going to worry about washing it with water. That would take too much time. But if I take some yellow and I put in some red, so I have both colors on my brush, it should make, and for this, since red is a very strong color, you might need to add extra yellow. And that should make a nice orange. Again, I have to wipe my brush off. And lastly, we still need to make that purple, and that can be a hard color to make, but we're gonna give it a try. So red, oh, there's a little bit of yellow in there, I'll cover it up with the blue. So red and blue on my brush. And again, it might kind of, oh, that looks better than, looks like a really nice dark purple. Okay, so another way that you can mix your colors if you don't have food coloring or Jell-O or paint, you might have crayons at home. And that's what we would do with just coloring one color on top of each other. So if I lay down some yellow, I'm going to press hard but without breaking my crayon and color a little bit of red on top. See if we can make an orange with our crayon. That did work. Now what if I take the yellow again, pressing hard but without breaking it, and on the second color you're very gentle, like with a feather. Color a little bit on top to try and make some green. Maybe if I go back on top with yellow like a sandwich. Kind of makes a nice green. And then let's try to make that purple, that violet. Lay down some blue. Add some red on top. Now I know with crayons you already have the green and the orange and the violet, but it's kind of fun to try and make them. But what if we don't have crayons either? Do you happen to have markers? Now you always want to lay down yellow first, because yellow's not a very strong color. The nice tip there, it'll soak up all the other colors and ruin your yellow marker. And make sure with your markers, you don't leave that little gap. You press till you hear a snap. That way they're closed correctly. If I put some red on top, maybe, that doesn't work as well as with the crayon. I think the crayon orange is better. Let's try and make a green. Lay down some yellow. And then maybe some bit of blue. No, that didn't work. But we've got to try to find out, right? Oh, I still need the blue, so I don't know why I put the lid on it. Blue. And then if we add red, like in our color song. Well, that worked kind of well. It's kind of dark on the camera though. What if you happen to have colored pencils? Kind of like the crayons, except they're not all waxy. So I'm going to put down yellow. And then very gently add some red. That makes a nice bright orange. And then what if I put down some red? And then I put on some blue. Trying to make violet again. Violet can be very hard to make. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of patience. And then what if we try and make our green? And then yellow, and then we'll add to it some blue, very gently, like tickling with a feather. Maybe add a little bit more yellow. I think my orange and green turned out best with crayons. But it was fun to try to make the colors with all different kinds of things. So whatever you happen to have at home, go ahead and give it a try and let me know what you end up making.